The hidden trap of being liked. Have you ever noticed that the more you try to please people, the less respected you feel? You go out of your way to help, you say yes when you want to say no, and still, people take you for granted. You begin to wonder, what am I doing wrong? Carl Jung, the legendary Swiss psychiatrist, gave us an answer that hits harder the more you sit with it. If you want to be respected, stop pleasing others. It's not just a motivational quote. It's a deep psychological and philosophical principle. In this video, we're going to break it down into 6 transformative truths. Each one builds on the last, and by the end, you'll not only understand why people-pleasing destroys self-respect, you'll know exactly how to break free. 1. The persona trap. When your mask becomes your identity. Carl Jung's concept of the persona is one of the most powerful and dangerous psychological truths you'll ever come across. The word persona comes from Latin. It literally means mask. In ancient Roman theater, actors wore masks to play different roles. Jung used this metaphor to explain how we create psychological masks to navigate society. Your persona is the version of yourself you show to the world. The agreeable co-worker, the responsible student, the polite daughter, the funny friend. And in small doses, it's necessary. We all wear masks. We can't walk around showing every raw emotion all the time. So the persona helps us adapt. But here's the trap. Over time, you can forget that it's just a mask. You start thinking it's you. You become so focused on pleasing others, on saying the right thing, being the good one, fitting into the group, avoiding rejection, that your true thoughts, feelings, and needs slowly disappear into the background. And that's when the problems begin. Because the persona is not who you really are. It's who you think you need to be loved or accepted. And when you live only through that mask, you disconnect from your authentic self. You start to feel empty, lost, unseen. Not because others are blind, but because you've hidden the real you behind layers of social performance. This is why people-pleasers often feel invisible despite being so liked. Because deep down they know people don't really like me. They like the version of me I've curated for them. Jung warned that if we over-identify with the persona, we suffer an identity crisis. We become hollow, burned out, full of quiet resentment. And the worst part? We lose the one thing we were trying to gain all along, respect. Because people don't respect masks. They respect those who are brave enough to be real. Realness is rare. And when people sense it, they feel it. They may not always like it, but they'll never forget it. And deep down they'll respect you more than they ever did when you were trying to please them. 2. Fear of rejection. The silent driver behind people-pleasing. Now let's get honest. Why do we people-please in the first place? Most of us aren't doing it to manipulate others. We're doing it because we're afraid. Afraid of being disliked. Afraid of being judged. Afraid of being alone. People-pleasing is rarely about kindness. It's usually about survival. And that fear of rejection or abandonment is often rooted in early emotional experiences. Maybe you grew up in a family where love had strings attached. You were praised when you performed well. You were scolded when you made mistakes. You learned early on that being good or useful was how you earned connection. So what did? You adapted. You became highly attuned to what others wanted from you. And you carried that same emotional strategy into adulthood. You started reading the room before you spoke. You toned yourself down. You said yes when you meant no, all to avoid the thing you feared most, disconnection. But here's the paradox. When you hide your truth to avoid rejection, you're already rejecting yourself. You betray your own needs just to keep others comfortable. You trade authenticity for approval and still feel unfulfilled. And eventually that fear-based behavior breeds resentment. You start to feel frustrated that no one sees or respects the real you. But how could they? You never showed them. Carl Jung believed that the self must go through a confrontation with the shadow to become whole. But before that can even happen, you must confront your fear of rejection. Because if you don't, if that fear remains unconscious, it will rule you from the shadows, and people will sense it. They might like you, but they won't respect you. Because respect isn't born from fear. It's born from confidence, from boundaries, from truth. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but we care more about their opinions than our own." This is the essence of people-pleasing. You abandon your own inner voice to avoid discomfort. But the path to self-respect begins when you flip that script, when you start valuing your inner voice more than the outer noise. You will never fully silence the fear of rejection, but you can stop letting it dictate your life. And the moment you do, you step into your power. You begin to choose honesty over harmony, truth over performance. And people don't just like you, they begin to respect you. 3. The shadow, the unseen force sabotaging your self-respect. Jung's concept of the shadow is one of the most misunderstood ideas in psychology. Your shadow is the part of you that you repress. Your anger, your selfishness, your competitiveness, your sexuality, your boldness. People pleasers often suppress these traits to stay nice and likable. But here's the paradox. Whatever you suppress gains power in the unconscious. You start having outbursts, passive-aggressive behavior, or even physical stress. Because your shadow isn't integrated. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The shadow isn't bad. It's part of your wholeness. When you integrate your assertiveness, your confidence, your boldness, you don't become a jerk. You become whole. And wholeness demands respect. 4. Boundaries are the language of self-respect. Every people pleaser struggles with one thing: boundaries. You say yes when you mean no. You allow behaviors that make you uncomfortable. You tolerate disrespect, thinking it's your job to keep the peace. But real peace never comes through self-sacrifice. Boundaries are not about being mean, they're about being clear. They tell people how to treat you. Without them, you invite disrespect. With them, you create respect, even if it means some people will walk away. In Eastern philosophy, the Tao Te Ching teaches balance, wu wei, or effortless alignment with truth. Boundaries are your way of aligning with your truth. They're not walls, they're filters. They don't keep people out, they protect your center. Respect yourself enough to enforce them, and others will follow your lead. 5. Being liked is easy, being respected is harder. Here's a brutal but liberating truth. Being liked and being respected are not the same. Being liked is easy. Just go along, smile, compliment, never challenge. But this type of approval is fragile. It disappears the moment you say something real. Being respected, that takes courage. You have to be willing to disappoint, to be misunderstood, to stand alone. You may lose some likes, but you gain something deeper, authentic connection. Friedrich Nietzsche warned us against becoming what he called herd animals. People-pleasing makes you part of the herd, but if you want to stand out, if you want people to feel your presence when you walk into a room, you have to walk your own path. Respect isn't for the agreeable, it's for the authentic. 6. True freedom is living without permission. At the root of all of this is one ultimate lesson: freedom. People-pleasing keeps you in psychological chains. You seek permission to speak, to act, to exist. But you'll never be respected if you're waiting for others to validate your choices. Carl Jung taught that individuation, becoming your true self, is life's most important journey. That means breaking from societal roles, parental expectations, and cultural programming. It means choosing yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Socrates died for speaking his truth. Buddha walked away from a palace to seek enlightenment. Every great mind who earned respect did it by not seeking approval. When you stop living for others, you don't become selfish, you become sovereign. That's when real respect begins. From others. And from yourself. The respect revolution. So here's your choice. Do you keep living for approval and stay unseen? Or do you step into your truth and earn the respect you've been missing? Carl Jung wasn't just giving advice, he was handing you the keys to freedom. To be respected, you must stop pleasing. To be whole, you must face your shadow. To be real, you must risk being disliked. If this message spoke to your soul, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep content, and drop a comment below. What's one way you've been people-pleasing? And what will you do differently now? This is your journey. And it begins with truth. Stay honest. Stay strong. Stay you.